Hello, and welcome to today's recording of Assassin's Creed 3. Today we're actually going to be doing sequence number 6 on our playthrough for towards Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is actually day 39 of a 100-day marathon towards that release date. Um, Today we're going to talk a little bit about Sir William Johnson and about the Boston Tea Party. But we'll see how this
Connor,
goes first.
spare a moment.
Of course.
Have a look.
What is it?
The Xingbao, or rope dart if you prefer. One of the many plans given to us by Shao Zun to...
Sorry.
We'll have to work on this.
Ganondogo,
Yes, my friend.
what brings you here? Is the village all right?
For now,
What do you mean? What has happened?
men came, claiming we had to leave. They said that the land was being sold, and that the Confederacy had consented. We sent an envoy, but they would not listen.
You must refuse!
We cannot oppose the Sachem, but you're right as well. We cannot give up our home.
Do you have a name? Do you know who is responsible?
He is called William Johnson,
Where is Johnson now?
in Boston, making preparations for the sale.
Sale! This is theft!
Connor, take care. These men are powerful.
What would you have me do? I made a promise to my people.
If you insist upon this course of action, seek out Sam Adams in Boston. He'll be able to help. What have you done?
When my people go to war, a hatchet is buried into a post to signify its start. When the threat is ended, the hatchet is removed.
You could have used a tree.
You could have used a tree. Alright, so. Wait a minute, why is there a homestead mission right there? We're going to get right to William Johnson here in a minute, but we're going to figure out what this homestead mission's all about. Oh, the Encyclopedia of the Common Man.
Connor, it has occurred to me that the times we live in will be looked upon by future generations with a certain degree of scrutiny, no matter the outcome. With that in mind, I think it valuable to record the goings-on around the homestead. A true log of how people lived during this time of transition. Something to help color the portrait. What do you think?
When I find a moment, I will try.
Very good.
That essentially, the period of the Common Man, they made it a lot easier, but when I got that achievement, oh, it was a bear, because you had to catch, you didn't know where the people were. There was an update that essentially put letters on everybody, so you could see where they were, but it was a pain to get everybody and scan it and not be the wrong spot. The map is still difficult to run. Alright, so for now, I guess we're going to talk about William Johnson, because we know that's who we're going after. Begging kids. I don't remember begging kids. So, Sir William Johnson was, he was known as Sir William Johnson, 1st Baronet. He was born in County Meath, Ireland, Meath, Meath, Ireland. Where's that? There's that piece of paper right there. Come back.
Sanctions and demonstrations won't suffice,
I don't even
Sam.
deal with it.
We need to act, and I'm talking about more than a sternly worded letter.
I sympathize with your frustrations, gentlemen. But surely you can understand my reluctance to kick the hornet's nest.
The tort.
Ah, Connor. Hello again. What brings you to Boston?
You.
Would you excuse us, fellows?
We're going to talk about him later. That is Paul Revere.
Thank you. That conversation was about to turn unpleasant. Now, what can I do for you?
I was hoping you could help me locate William Johnson.
Of course. I'm headed to a meeting with some men who should be able to help. Why don't you come along?
Well, I would never refer to it as first grade.
Ah, it's good to see the people finally taking a stand against injustice.
Says the man who owns a slave.
Ooh, sorry? I practice what I preach, my friend. She's not a slave, but a freed woman, at least on paper. Men's minds are not so easily turned. It's a tragedy that for all our progress, still we cling to such barbarism.
Then speak out against it.
We must focus first on defending our rights. When this is done, we'll have the luxury of addressing these other matters.
You speak as though your condition is equal to that of the slaves. It is not.
Tell that to my neighbor who was compelled to quarter British troops, or to my friend whose store was closed because he displeased the crown.
Point of view, I suppose.
Hey! It's my home, no matter what you thieves called taxmen say! If the gums in Parliament who want to take my property, you tell them to sail across the pond and take it themselves!
It's not open for discussion now. Open this door or these men will break it down. Ah!
The bullets! We're
Yes, that
coming
was
in!
a big old barrel of pee.
I trust the mounting evidence is proof enough, Connor.
Continue on. I shall meet you at our destination.
Is that all you have? Could use some support! Is that all you have?
Well,
Come on,
you should be able to get one guy.
Could use some support!
I guess not.
Behind that, lads! You can't take what's not yours!
Come on, man. Come at me.
Is that all you have? You can't take what's not yours!
I didn't realize that was a guy.
Come on, you lusterback! You can't take what's not yours!
Alright. So, he was born in Ireland sometime around 1715. Around 1738.
Justice for once. I dare the governor to send more.
You all right?
I'm fine. It's not my first dance. For all their teeth and claws, these little foxes, they fight like puppies. Thank you, my friend. I'd buy you an ale, but I'm expected somewhere else.
While I'm at it, I might as well lower my...
Most humorous. Droll,
Alright.
even.
Guess I don't have enough money. So around 1738, William Johnson would, what would he do? He would, sit. Oh well, that's not the way I wanted it to. It's alright. He would move to the province of New York with his uncle Peter Warren. under the understanding that he would inherit much of Warren's land. After realizing the settlement was too far from the trading route, he would buy a house and a small farm on the north side of the river. Oh, there it is. And there he would build a store and a sawmill. During this time, it's the ranking, huh? There is it. Alright, so spin it. There it is. During his time trading, Johnson would become close to the Mohawk. Around 1742, they would adopt him as an honorary sachem, or civil chief. And give him the name. Another. That little guy either. They would give him the name Waragahigahe, which translates to a man who undertakes great things. In 1746, during the time of King George War, which in Europe would be known as the War of Austrian Succession, Johnston would be appointed New York's agent to the Iroquois.
Punishment of the law as reward.
Hard to read notes and deflect rounds when you don't know what to come in.
Hello, good people. I bless you all.
Maybe Rhode Island's a shooting. Or the frontier.
Screw it. Let's kill them. Let's kill them all.
I'm not sure one of them would leave.
Die!
It does move that kind of slow.
Clear shot.
He would then be called the Colonel of the Warriors of the Six Nations, and was instructed to enlist an equipped colonist of Indians against the French. This would start out difficult, as the Iroquois had a policy of neutrality in colonial wars, though he would eventually organize small raiding parties by working with Mohawk chief Hendrik Thiongonquin. After the war, Johnson would build a new stone house upriver of his own home, and in 1755 he would shift that to the primary. Who sees me? 1755, he would shift that as the primary meeting place for diplomatic councils between the British and the Iroquois to that home. Also within 1755, he would be appointed Edward Braddock's agent to the Iroquois.
Connor, I'd like you to meet some like-minded friends. The owner of this fine establishment, William Molyneux, and the manager and chef of his newest venture, Stéphane Chaffeau.
Ah, Connor and I just had a ball with some redcoats enforcing some taxmen outside my home.
The collectors grow bolder and more forceful. Something we must address, Samuel.
Then let us raise a banner. Something to let the people know that they are not alone. The docks are an angry place of late. Protesters picketing the latest shipments of British tea. The eyes of the city are upon that stage.
A Bostonian without his tea is a dangerous beast.
William Johnson is smuggling the tea off the ships. One of his men tried to sell me this. A sample of what I refused. But it's from those ships. No mistaking the stamp. He's charging a king's ransom. Must be he's making a mint off those who buy it.
Where is he now?
I've never met the man.
May I ask why you seek him, Connor?
He intends to purchase the land upon which my village stands, without the consent of my people.
No doubt the revenue from his little smuggling endeavor is financing the acquisition. A tax enforced on tea grants a boon to smugglers. I'll wager the same men who levy the taxes are selling the tea. A stage requires a spectacle, and I may know the play. Connor, head back to the docks and see to the destruction of the tea. If you should need us, return here.
Hello, Connor. That tea is being illegally smuggled all around Boston by Johnson's men. If you see any crates in transit, perhaps you could put a stop to the delivery. And those moody tax collectors are still at it. They could use a lesson or two, huh?
Side note, William Molyneux, who is there, was a historical person and did help organize
Go on, Connor.
Boston Tea Party. But back to Johnson. On September 5th, 1755,
Pardon me.
Oh, come on, mate.
Alright, so on September 8, 1755, Johnson would lead a fighting force against the French in the Battle of Lake George. Did he get shot? Did. This would is where not only would Johnson take a ball that would or a musket shot to his hip that would stay with him for the that little kid's gonna want to move or he's gonna get hurt. Oh, that was odd. He's a brutal fighter, isn't he? Excuse me. I have a person to bribe. I don't want you to run off.
Someone help me. Oh!
The area's recent criminal flourishing is prompting a citywide clampdown.
That'll make this a little easier. Try to get over here and do this other little side mission thing here. These are so I can recruit assassins, these little symbols here.
Have they caught him?
Well, I threw him, I think.
Have they caught
Awkward. Alright. I probably could just stay there. Oh, it's probably because I'm in the middle of a mission. Okay, so now that we're incognito, let's finish talking about Johnston. I'm not even gonna worry about it. So he would take the musket ball to his hip that would essentially stay in his body for the rest of his life. Well, since I'm already up here, how high do we have to? That's pretty high, so we're not going to deal with that. Stay in his hip for the rest of his life, and Hendrik Thangongwin would actually be killed during that battle. Well, I guess I already got it. Cool. It was his service in this battle that King George would actually make him the baronet. In January 1756, he would also be made the sole superintendent of Indian Affairs. Oh, I remember what I have to do. Thank you.
You get back here! Stop it! Not involved. None of your business.
That's not a firearm. That's a.
Look, they're not involved. None of your business. Don't lose sight of him.
Yeah, this is a glitch and a half.
Where do you think you're going?
There we go.
Don't lose sight of him. There, after him. You get back here. Stop it.
Thank you. So after being made the sole superintendent of the Indian Affairs of the Northern Colonies, this would replace him, would lead him to reporting directly to the government in London and not in the colonies. In this post, he would make the Iroquois the focus of British oh, we're not going to mess with that fort, that's for sure. I don't think I want to be carrying this around, to be honest. Oh, that's not really looks like a little bitty Granado. He would be present at the capture of Montreal in 1760, and a year later would make the trip to Detroit to hold a conference with regional natives to dissuade them about anti-British rumors. Oh, my neck just cracked.
workman. Spare me.
And at this conference, he was able to forestall outright resistance to British military occupation in the West. In December of 1760, he would also receive about 80,000 acres from the Mohawk of the Kanahouhari. It was a controversial grant because there were already people with grants to that land. But, of course, 9 years later, Johnson would gain royal approval for that 80,000 acres. In 1762, he would found the city of Johnstown? Yeah, Johnstown on that land. And he would also establish a free school for both white and Mohawk children.
The Boston Gazette humbly proposes. Have you lost your witch?
Outside of the town, he would build Johnson Hall in 1763. That was the building I was talking about yesterday, which would be his home, of course, until his death.
You go down like a sack of potatoes.
A patrol walked by. It was amazing. After we saw many British in town. See. I like how the hats fly off when certain ones get hit a certain way. Oops. Something clearly didn't go right. Why do I have that weapon anyway? Oh, I don't have any of these. That's not cool. Oh, I thought it was ball. That's just a different kind of hat. And I clearly went the wrong way. Couple turkeys. Talk to a crier over here, I guess. He was a proponent of the Royal Proclamation of 1763 that would call for tighter control and restraint of Western colonial expansion. Not quite sure what... Oh, it's this guy.
Can I help you?
Oh, yeah, it is.
He could be right here.
Oh, they don't know where I'm at, though. Haha. So, of course, he'd go against his instructions from London. He would, because he was part of the negotiation team that would deal with the boundary of Western expansion in the Fort Stanwix Treaty of 1768. He, of course, would go against his instructions from London and push the boundary about 400 miles west as where London wanted it, to enable him and others to be able to buy more land. than originally was authorized by London. During the 1770s, discontent would continue within the Native American community, as we're starting to see. And Johnson would spend his final years trying to prevent an uprising during the Indian Conference on July 11th. Is this the Green Dragon? So that would have been kind of funny. July 11th, 1774, Johnson would die from a stroke at Johnson Hall. At the time of his death, he would own about 170,000 acres, making him one of the largest landowners in British America.
Where's Sam Adams?
Who cares? I've been robbed! Vont me le payer, ces scélérats de merde!
Not only would he have 170,000 acres, he would also have 60 slaves, which would make him also one of the largest slave holders in the United States. He would marry twice, once to a Mohawk woman and once to
some pathetic redcoats waiting for a beating! I will match your face to your jacket!
Is she Irish? I don't remember if she was Irish or English. But he had kids with both women.
Ces coquins me prennent mon père au Canada et voilà qu'ils me rêvent ma propriété ici. Il suffit.
And that's, I mean, there was a lot of information that I found on Johnson, but I was not really surprised that they would pick him for a Templar after reading all of that.
Send them back to Britain and Boston.
We are not English! We are not the king's men! We are free! Let's show them who owns it! It's time to fight!
He is stirring up a riot.
Stefan, please! Stop and listen to me!
I've listened for long enough. They come into my home and take my things? I will get my revenge. The man responsible for this will pay. His friends will pay. Voilà trop longtemps que je subis ces affronts. Ils vont goûter de mon courroux. You looking for a fight, Englishman? I'll give you what you want.
Damn you, snakes! Damn you, snakes! Bloody scabs!
Hey, redcoats! Your king! L'Anglois croise mon chemin. Ils me volent ma maison, ils m'obligent à fuir mon pays. Et les voici qui veulent s'approprier ma nouvelle demeure.
Assassinations instead of using my tomahawk. I shot Steph. Lovely.
So slow!
Knock it off, the big wheel.
There is a way to fight injustice, but this is not it.
He's got an arrow in his elbow. Oh, he took an arrow to the elbow. That should have been a meme. Better than arrow to the knee from what was it?
Wonderful recipe. Although absolutely.
Dang it, I'm drawing a blank on what it was.
Those indications should suit.
I will match your face to your jacket.
What is that from? Elder Scrolls 4.
Destroyed? You stupid mongrel! I suppose you want me to tell Johnson his tea just spontaneously combusted? Nonsense. Someone's responsible for this, and you will find out who. And if you can't, I'll gut you and find a smarter mongrel who can.
What do we do? Create a window. Oh, bloody hell are you?
Just...
Why? You have no right to rob people blind. By decree of the British Parliament or not. British Parliament? I work for William Johnson. Johnson?
End his suffering cleanly.
Please.
The people seem to have an ear for you. What are the things you lost?
The people listen to me only because I spoke the truth loud enough. Which is worth 1,000 times the content of my footlocker. The English, they can keep my teams.
You did well tonight.
I said I'd buy you an ale when you first helped me. In place of drink, I offer you my allegiance. For what it's worth.
Your aid is welcome, and I am grateful. Now, I need to find Sam Adams.
Look at that, more new email.
Are they not appetizing?
And Boston's central key will let me open up any oh, what is the word I'm looking for? Chest without in the central area of Boston without having to actually break the lock, which that'll make things a little easier. And I don't know if you've noticed, I don't climb to the roofs as much here as I did with the first 4 Assassin's Creed, and that has a lot to do with the spacing of the buildings. You just so far apart, you try to jump from one side of the street to the other, you land in the middle of the street and break your legs. It's just not a good idea.
Back, cargo and all.
Aye, but Governor Hutchison refuses to let them leave. Once
The Tea Party.
What happens now? We wait for the signal. What signal?
This meeting can do nothing further to save the country.
That one.
Evening, gentlemen. Shall we be off?
No.
What's the matter?
I have spent today drawn from one bit of madness to another with nothing to show for it. Before I go any further, I would like to know exactly what it is you intend.
Of course. First, we make our way to Nathaniel Bradley's house to fetch the rest of our little group. Then it's on to Griffin's Wharf, where we board the ships and dump the tea. Simple as that.
Simple seems a bit charitable.
Cheer up, Connor. For tonight, we are all victors. The Sons of Liberty get to send a message to England, and you rob William Johnson of his financing. Your village will be saved. I've an idea. Why don't you lead the way? That should keep us out of any further trouble. Am I right?
I wonder if...
Damn it, more guards.
We need to turn the crowd's anger to our advantage.
Say the word, Connor, and I will make it so.
No, I guess I didn't catch that. That's saying November 16th or December 16th. Maybe I just didn't read it right. But the reason why I say that is because this is the Boston Tea Party and that took place as a protest, essentially, by the Sons of Liberty on December 16th, 1773. This was a direct response to the Tea Act that was signed on May 10th, 1773. That would allow the British East India Company to sell, not up the boat. I don't know why that got stuck like that.
Hey, where do you think you're going? Ready for clear shot.
I thought that guy was gonna shoot at me. Ooh! Man, that's a rut, apparently.
Shit! Why do I always get caught up in it?
Hello, Paul Revere. We'll talk about Paul. Well, that was weird. In the next sequence.
Regulars!
But I wonder if
We need to keep those bastards at bay while the tea is being dumped. Let me help. I'm yours to command.
because Connor is Mohawk, he's kind of near Ka. I so can't do it. So I wonder if I get 10 of these out. Let's go help the people. I don't think that either. That was kind of cool. Did that count? I don't think that counted. Ooh! 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 That one did. I like seeing the little tea particles float around. Come on, huh? Throw him in the water. I don't think that counted either. Threw it over the boat.
Not escape me.
Oh, I know how to do it. Come here. That didn't go well. Alright. So, with the British East India Company essentially able to well, I guess I gotta save Paul Revere's life here.
Clear shot on us.
Guys.
Have a clear shot.
Well, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
We've done it.
Gunner? We saved the last one for you.
Church is there too.
Best we get out of here, huh?
So with British East India Company able to sell the tea from China in American colonies without any payment taxes, save the ones from the Townshend Acts. This was the culmination of resistance throughout British America. Against the Tea Act. Essentially, they believed it was violating their rights as Englishmen to have no taxation without representation. The idea that they were being that they should have representation in British Parliament. After protesters successfully prevented the unloading of the tea, the Royal Governor Thomas Hutchinson refused to allow the tea to even return to Britain, which in itself was a stupid idea, because it's only a matter of time before something outrageous like the Tea Party even happened. So, an estimated 5,000 to 7,000 people would meet at the Old South Meeting House, and after hearing that the governor refused to let the ships leave, Samuel Adams would try to keep the people at the meeting. But that night, a group of between 30 and 130 would board the three ships, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver. Some were dressed as Mohawks, like Connor here. And then in 3 hours, they would dump 342 chests into Griffin's Wharf, which is inside Boston Harbor. What this would end up doing is the British politicians would unite against the colonies and would respond with what the colonies would call the Intolerable Acts. Intended to punish Boston for the loss of tea and restore British authority. But throughout colonies, they were looked at as a violation of constitutional rights and their constitutional rights, national rights, and the colonial charters, uniting many of the colonists and resulting in the calling of the First Continental Congress. So, as you can already see, this is started with the Boston Massacre, and then the English would put more taxes on the Americans, the colonists, and just escalation and escalation and escalation. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. You know this is a powder keg and exactly where this is going to end up. Everybody knows it.
Hey, what have I ever done to you?
Makes you sit and think. Like, we always look at Samuel Adams as this great man, this great founding father. But if you boil it down, kind of like how Sean did, he's just a giant instigator. And that's like, to victor go to spoils, right?
That's right.
Because if you think about it, if the Americans would have lost the war, the founding fathers would have been hanged for treason, with no doubt about it. So, it's an interesting thought. Alright, let's see if we can help Johnson have a stroke. I wish this game had a horse traveling system like Origins does, where you just put in an endpoint, hit A, and just basically go to sleep while your horse takes you there. I really hope that was the drummer boy. Nope. Got him. Oh, somebody killed the drummer boy in there too. Oh, look at him go! Look at him go! Now what he is using is, you typically think that it's just a standard double blade, the two wrist mounts, but one of them, if you slow it down and pay attention, it comes out, and it comes out, and then it like hinges, and it's a dagger that he holds in reverse hand. We're going to loot these people and hope somebody's got an arrow. I don't have any arrows. Or maybe a rope dart. Poison darts? You got poison darts? I do! What do you know? I didn't think poison darts were in here. Or trip mines. Totally forgot about them. Pretty cool. Did I get him? Did I get that one? Well, it says pick up body. Weapon. Oh, there was a loot right there. Where is it? There it is. Oh, helps if I hit the right button, right? I think that's everybody. Now where'd the horse go?
They defiled the house of God and walked out with the collection plate. Savages. They even
Where is my horse? There he is. Alright, we'll get to move in here in a hot split second. Alright, here we go. On the way. On the road again. Yeah, because this area is rather large, and I'm not going to even try to do that viewpoint because I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I've done wilderness high points just to jump to my death. Not even funny. Yeah, I don't want to deal with you guys. Looks like I'm gonna have to jump off this horse. Oh, there's a road down here. Alright. This actually leads me the way I want to go, doesn't it? No. Silly horse.
Whoa.
What are you doing? No. No. Alright. Done with that. Done with that. Let me do it that way. I wonder where this one let me turn. It's probably much quicker to swim than try to figure out a way around the lake. That's for sure. Where does the end of this go? I remember the first night I played it. I remember, hey, we were just talking about Johnstown, weren't we? When I was playing it, like the first time, and I jumped into, the lake around Johnson Hall, and I go swimming towards the beach, and there's two big old bears right there, and I'm just like, oh boy. Oh boy, I have a picture somewhere. Poor quality cell phone. It's was like, whoa. It's one of those things that I really like about this game, though. And then the wildlife factor of it, where you have to skin every animal that you come across because Connor's people believe that every piece of the animal should be used. And there's a road here. And that if you don't use it, that you would desync. So that's seriously the entrance to that seriously looks like the entrance to is. It is, because there's... I should have looked at the boat. Shouldn't I? That's frustration. Alright, let's try this again. Now that I'm here, I have to finish... wait, oh yeah, that's right, there's a guy that's gonna fall off the cliff down here that we should save. Should be able to go through the underbrush of those trees. If I'd have remembered this, I wouldn't have jumped off the,
What in God's name?
I don't know if you noticed this, but you can see it real good here, is that Connor in the homestead area will take his hood, put his hood down. The guy just randomly fell off on his own. That's amazing. I guess we should help this guy up, huh? Looks like he's being very rude on how he's picking him up.
Thank you.
In my mind.
Are you all
I
right?
could be wrong.
I think so. Didn't do much to me aside from a good scare. Blackguards.
What did they want with you?
My purse, which was meager, and they decided to punish me for their trouble. Silly, really. My tools and equipment were worth a king's share to the right man. In any case, I had best get on my way. It's a long walk to the nearest inn. I thank you again for your kindness.
Have you no home?
Oh, well, I was a proud resident of Boston until recently, but I'm not a supporter of His Majesty, and, well, I was forced out of my woodshop and home by loyalists.
There are plenty around here who could use the services of a skilled craftsman if you were looking for somewhere to settle.
Is that right? I may look into that.
And I like looking back at my family genealogy and learning stories of my family, and especially looking at like areas of this time. You just think of that idea of like someone in your family gets run out of his shop in a big city and he has to leave. And then all of a sudden just a random encounter like that changes his life, and what that would do to each subsequent generation and how it would change everyone down his family tree. I mean, it would be the difference from you personally being born in Boston, or where would you? Ohio.
You must be Connor. We've been raring to finally meet you. My name's Catherine, and this is Diana. We're the wives of those two blockheads who cut trees.
Nice to meet you. We've heard so much of you from the boys. Glad to finally put a face to the name.
The pleasure is mine.
We were just discussing how nice this bit of territory is, on a river with nobody upstream. I won't lie, Godfrey's letter had me a little worried, but now that we're here and settled, I must say I'm rather happy.
They had us on this plot north of Champlain that was a tangle of rock and bramble. Ugh, horrible place. It's a real treat to be able to walk up the hill and take in the ocean.
Your husbands must keep you busy.
Nothing we can't handle, Connor. The boys think they run the show, but the real bosses are right in front of you.
I do not doubt it.
Yeah, I like those two, the Terry and the Godfrey's wives. They amuse me. Oh, what was on my thought? And just seeing the two wives, the lumberjacks' wives, and their outfits, it just the way genetics works, and thinking back to that point and how many different generations you could look back at photos and see how like your mom looks like your great grandmother, and then just think of like your mom in that kind of outfit, what that would look like, and it amuses me. That's all. If this could if I have to go to the boat.
It is done.
Johnson is dead?
No. He retreated when we destroyed the tea.
Only to hatch some new scheme, I'm sure. You should have killed him.
There was no need.
Time will tell if you speak the truth.
Radun Hagedum! Radun Hagedum!
Ganondokon, why are you here? Has something happened?
William Johnson has returned with all the money required to buy our land. He meets with the elders as we speak. I have begged him to resist, but I fear he shall have his way unless you intervene.
How is this possible? We destroyed the tea.
The Templars are nothing if not resourceful. You should have heeded my warning.
Please, you have to stop him.
Of course. Can you tell me where they're meeting?
Johnson Hall. I'm not in the mood to climb that rock face. For sure. Alright, there's my horse with the assassin symbol on it. So like, what I did was I came down through here, talking about the bears again, and I was like, I'm gonna take this hard turn right here, because that's where my sequence is. Elk. Do I have a... Oh, I have no bows. Oh, smoke bombs are there now too. Come here. Where'd he go? We're not gonna chase him.
Not gonna daradit ganusade ne Johnson's yunja der rocksta. Guahiganzi what ne ganun haradun hagedum.
The Guader Hardat Guaganto.
It's very nice of them to speak English around Achilles so you could understand. You don't see that so much anymore. You see a lot of secrecy with other languages. At least I do, but I'm not gonna get too much into that. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Wait, I never noticed that those guys had barrels next to them. I never noticed I could do that. That's pretty cool. Goal is to do this without getting spotted. Oh, there's a... Didn't see that there. I don't think I've ever taken this route before. There we go.
We are not your brothers. You seek land to enough, land that is not yours nor any person. We are all too aware of the traditions your people stand against.
That's death. Alright, back here again. At least this time I have all my bullets back. I could just try to climb that, but I think I'm gonna go up and around. I think that's gonna be the best way of doing it. Didn't go far enough around.
You come back here, you bastards trying to get away! Die!
No. Alright. So I tried to do a corner kill around the bush, and it clearly didn't work the way that it was supposed to. No, up the tree, Connor.
We are not your brothers. Peace, prosperity, fertile land.
You seek land true enough. Land is not yours nor any person's.
I only wish to keep you safe. There are those who would betray and manipulate you. Or worse yet, take the land by force.
We are all too aware of the expeditions your people send against us.
What do you mean, my people? We are all one. We should act as such. Peace, peace. Have I not always been an advocate? Have I not always sought to protect you from harm?
If you wish to protect us, then give us arms, muskets and horses that we might defend ourselves.
War is not the answer.
We remember, Stanwix. We remember you moved the borders. Even today your men dig up the land, showing no regard for those who live upon it. Your words are honeyed, but false. We are not here to negotiate, nor to sell. We are here to tell you and yours to leave these lands.
So be it. I offered you an olive branch, and you knocked it from my hand. Perhaps you'll respond better to the sword.
Are you threatening us?
Yes. Ah! Thought you might send one of your own to oppose me.
Let's see. Let's see where he's at. There he is.
Off your dogs, but everyone dies!
None. Get back here. I have to shoot him with a pistol now. Make me run after him. Won't even let me. Oh, that's cool. Look at that double assassination. Ugh.
Oh no. What have you done?
Ensured an end to your schemes. You sought to claim these lands for the Templars.
Aye, that we might protect them. Do you think that good King George lies awake at night, hoping that no harm comes to his native subjects? Or that the people of the city care one whit about them? Oh, sure. The colonists are happy to trade when they need food or shelter, or a bit of extra padding for their armies. But when the walls of the city constrict, when there's crops that need soil, when there's no more enemy to fight, we'll see how kind the people are then.
The colonists have no quarrel with the Iroquois.
Not yet, but they will. 'Tis the way of the world. In time, they'll turn. I could have stopped it. I could have saved you all.
You speak of salvation, but you were killing them.
Aye, because they would not listen. And so, it seems, neither will you.
Ayawas ne yatte hagum sare am dahyayu ne skanas izagum haje.
Interesting thought, isn't it? I think I gotta get out of here. No, I'm not that far away from being...
Die!
Former swan dive to escape, even though I am... I guess I'm not that far away from water. Get out of there. Hey look, beaver. Yeah, whatever. I'll take it. That should be the end of the sequence if I remember right. And I don't believe we get pulled out. So, that is the end. Double check here.
William Johnson is dead, and with him, the Templar plot to steal the land of my people. But in ending this threat, I have revealed another. On his body was a letter addressed to John Pitcairn containing orders to root out and destroy Patriot weapons and supplies.
Basically, it says that the war is starting. But that is the end of Assassin's Creed Sequence 7 in number 3. So next we're going to do sequence number 7. We're going to talk a little bit about the American Revolution. We're going to talk about John Pitcairn and Paul Revere. I hope you've enjoyed what I have enjoyed showing you. Please, if you like what I've been doing, check out my social media and my website. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss out on anything. And I hope that you have a great night.